At the Rosa Alpine Centre, and it's women's giant slalom day, and the standing category just about to get their first run underway. Look at the wind blowing the snow off that ridge. Here is the start list then for the standing category, and Anja Roffers of Germany, silver medalist in Vancouver and at the Para-World Championships in La Molina, gets us underway. Marie Boucher, number 9, is the Para-World champion. Lauren Wollstonecroft of Canada, who won this event in Canada, in Vancouver, has since retired, so there will be a new Paralympic champion, but who will step up onto that vacant top step? Marie Boucher already has 3 goals to her name from these games, and it'll take a brave person to bet against her making it a 4th gold. Crowd filling up nicely, and they have a decent chance of a medal here to Russia in Inga Medvedeva, who will be 4th down the run in this standing category.
By far.
Stephanie Yalin there, just going through her last preparations. Very windy conditions here in Rosa Kuta. Let's hope that doesn't change the visibility and bring in some clouds. Jochimsen there of the Netherlands, but it will be Germany that get us underway with Andrea Roffers. Coaches sit and wait.
This category, the leader, World Cup individual leader this season, she's Marie Boucher from France, 2nd position, representing
nervous times for all as they just want to get this racing underway. Second of 3 runs.
The Paralympic winner, she's Marie, the World Cup World Championship winner, she's Marie Boucher 2 times.
Women's giant slalom this morning. We're going to get the second runs later on day 9. But with the visually impaired category having just been run, the 6 skiers still involved will go back up to the top shortly for the second runs. Remember, giant slalom decided they were 2 runs. The combined time is what matters. It's women's giant slalom day, and the standing category is underway with Andrea Roffers of Germany. Let's have a look then at this giant slalom course. They start off on an area called Big Pan. The course is very tight, very technical, very, very icy in parts at the moment. The first tight part is there on Bear's Brow, and Roffers gets it all wrong and skis into that blue gate. Now she's going to have to let it fly. The course has been set by one of the German coaches, Justus Wolf, and the trickiest part coming up just here on the backside of the lake jump. This course is very, very difficult. Alternate red and blue gates. No real area to rest for the skiers. There's a big hole on that red gate, but she's missed that, has Roffers. And she stops the clock at 54.78, and she'll be very disappointed with that early line error over Bear's Brow. Now these bottom turns, very rhythmical, still tight, but no real banana gate, as it were, to try and trick the skiers in sight of the finish. And Roffers will hear the crowd shortly. Here she comes into the finish area, and she will set a time of 1:25.36. It could have been so much better but for that error over the Bear's Brow.
Germany.
Roffers just shaking her head. She's got to forget about that because she's got a second run to come. Stephanie Yalin of the United States of America, skiing in the LW91 class. There are 7 classes in this standing category. A double bronze medalist from these games in Super G and Super Combined. How will she go on the giant slalom? She's 4th in the World Cup standings this season. The LW91 class for skiers that have an impairment that affects arms and legs, and some skiers have coordination problems such as spasticity, but Yalin doing a good job over the Bear's Brow part of the run. Has to have total faith in that left edge when she turns towards the left. No way of balancing herself out, and she's got this very difficult red gate coming up. 3 turns in to the late jump. This one here, good job from Yalin. Chatting to herself all the way down. She did that in the Super Combined and Super G, and she's 2.77 off the pace of Roffers at the intermediate time check. Now, can she find the rhythm on this bottom section? A little late in the line on those couple of gates, but it's not cost her too much. She's got it back under control. And Stephanie Yalin looks like she's going to post a time here in the first run of the giant slalom. The 18-year-old crosses a line in a time of 1:30.73, 5.37 off the pace. Good job from Stephanie Yalin. Is that boot done up tight enough? And she makes her way from the finish area. Prepare for run 2. Ursula Pueyo Marimon of Spain in the LW2 class for skiers that have a significant impairment in one leg. Some skiers, for example, have an impaired leg from birth, and you will see them ski with one ski only. Now, Pueyo Marimon, 6th in the Giant Slalom World Cup standings. And all these skiers will be very familiar with this discipline. It's the discipline that most of them, if not all, start off racing when they decide to do alpine ski racing. They know it very well. They know the intricacies of it. It is the hardest discipline of the lot, combining speed and technical ability. And it's very difficult to have the perfect race. Now, 6 seconds off the time of Roffers at the intermediate time check. "20 athletes in total competing in this standing category." And Pueyo Marimon is now just 4 or 5 gates from home. And the time of Roffers is 1:25.36. The time of Yalin 1:30.73. She's outside both of those. She'll go third for the time being, 1:36.26. The time of Ursula Pueyo Marimon. That's the turn with the Russian supporters to lift the level. Inga Medvedeva, the next to ski. Medvedeva in the LW2 class, like Pueyo Marimon before her. Now, let's have a look at Bear's Brow. Good job coming into it. Medvedeva has 2 silvers in downhill and slalom. The best Winter Paralympic GS result was 5th back in 2002, but can she find another medal after enjoying magnificent gains? Onto the late jump, has to get a bit of a speed check now, this very difficult red gate. No problems for Medvedeva so far. Rothers' time comes and goes, and Rothers had a massive error on the Bears Brow, the backside of the Bears Brow jump, but it doesn't seem to cost it too much against the skiers that have followed, but she's still got to see what happens when Marie Bochet skis, the favourite for this standing category race, but Medvedeva doing a good job as she comes in sight of the finish. 1:25.36 the leading time. Yalin 1:30.73, and Medvedeva is going to be outside the time of Yalin but inside the time of Puyo Marimon. She goes third, 7.81 off the pace, 2.5 seconds slower than Stephanie Yalin of the United States. Melanie Schwartz of the USA next to ski. She's actually a torchbearer at the 2010 Winter Paralympics when she represented Canada. So since changed countries and now represents the United States. And Schwartz taking it nice and steady down the back of Bears Brow. There's two sort of options really for the skiers, either just to make sure of the turns on Bears Brow and the late jump and sacrifice time, or go all out and run the risk of not finishing. And Schwartz opting to try and get back for the second run. And probably the best option, because in the super combined at the women's sitting events, only 2 skiers got to the bottom of the 2 runs, and there's a case for just trying to make it down, because you never know what might happen. So Schwartz 11 seconds, 11.83 off the time of Rothers at the first intermediate. Looks like she's going to slot in behind Ursula Puyo Marimon, who's currently in 4th with a time of 1:36.26. But Schwartz looking to make it into the second run and then go from there. So the time for Melanie Schwartz is 1:44.46, 19.1 off the pace. She goes at 5th position, 9 seconds behind Puyo Marimon in 4th. Anna Jochimsen of the Netherlands in the LW2 class, her first Winter Paralympic Games. She has Para World Championship finishes to her name in this discipline, her best being 8th in Sestriere in 2011, but certainly showing a little bit more attack than Schwartz before her. Now, Jochimsen, what will she do on the lakeside jump pitch? How will she attack it? We're about to find out. In she comes now on that left edge. These 3 gates that are the tricky ones. There's a big rut in there. She is missed. And Jochimsen does a good job. And at the time check, is 4.73 off the pace. Yalin at that time was 2.77 off the pace. Medvedeva 3.76. So probably looking at a 4th place finish here if she can get to the bottom, or if she can find time, maybe get in front of Medvedeva. Jochimsen doing a good job on these closing turns. The finish is in sight, and the officer's time won't be beaten, but Johansson stops the clock in 1:34.32. She does go fourth, 8.96 off the pace, second slower than Medvedeva. The Dutch coaches look fairly happy with that. Now, time for Canada to cheer. It's Alexandra Starker in the LW 682 class, 19 years of age. She was a bronze medalist in the La Molina Para World Championship giant slalom. What can she do here? Starker, who's finished 7th in the Super G, 6th in the slalom. Can she get a third finish here in Sochi? Now, this is the part of the course that is the deal breaker. Oh, there's that big hole, and it pushes Starker low in the line, but she'll stop the clock at 59.62, 4.84 off the pace. The late in the line just makes the red gate. The LW 682 class is for skiers that have impairment in one arm, and skiers will compete with only one ski pole. Good work from Starker. She's got it back into the rhythm and the line. And Alexandra Starker stops the clock, 1:33.91. She goes fourth, pushes Anna Johansson down into fifth. So Melania Corradini of Italy, the same class as Starker before, the LW 681 class. A silver medalist in giant slalom at the Para World Championships in 2009 in Pyeongchang. She didn't come into these games with good form, and she has struggled here. 8th in Super G, the only finish to talk about, and over the bear's brow. Some good turns on that steep section now. The lake jump pitch awaits. So far, all of the skiers in this category have coped with the pitch, no problems at all. Corradini, in she comes. Nice high turns. Yeah, she's put the brakes on a little bit, but she's high in the line. And it means she's avoided the worst of the ruts. And she's 5.1 seconds off the pace of Roffers at the intermediate time check. Roffers with the biggest mistake over the back of Bear's brow. Corradini is out, and her poor Winter Paralympic Games continue. Now let's have a look. What went wrong here? No problems there. Just got caught on the inside edge. Ends up coming inside that red gate, was it? So a non-finish for Melania Corradini. I think she'll be pretty happy to see the end of competition here in Sochi. Now Marie Bochet of France, the overwhelming favourite for this race, but she overcooked it in the slalom race and paid the penalty by skiing out just, 4 or 5 gates in. Has she learnt the lesson from that? 3 golds already in these games, downhill, Super G and Super combined. Can she make it a 4? She swept the board at the Para World Championships in La Molina last year, winning 5 gold medals. She too just gets a little out of shape coming over Bear's brow, but gets it back together again, no problem at all. Now Bochet the late jump or weights. So far, no real big errors. LW 682 class for her. She's an impairment in one arm. Now, a little low and having to do a lot of work after the turns. Very low indeed, and the error comes at the bottom of the late jump pitch, which will shave off speed. She's still got half a second on Roffers, but she will be slower at that point than Roffers was, so it's not really a true reflection. The error coming late in the lakeside jump pitch as it starts to flatten out. Now, Boucher gets it back together again. Has she done enough to get inside 125.36? Probably. She has by 0.38, but it could have been more. But for the error on the lakeside jumper, she'll be delighted to have got to the bottom. She leads the way. 124.98 now, the new time to beat. The coach is very relaxed at the top. The skiers less so, not really surprising. That's Katja Saarinen of Finland. That's Alison Jones
No, it's training.
The USA. And a slight pause in proceedings. Which was Smazova in Slovakia. Goes bib number 24. Look at the wind blowing at the top of the course. Saw a lot of tree debris being blown across the late jump pitch. Now, this is Erin Latimer, as she always does, just marches in the start hut. 17 years of age, the first major championship, raced at Super G and Super combined, as well as the slalom. Just the two finishes 8th and 7th in slalom and Super G respectively. That's it, LW 682 class, Boucher before her. No problems over the bear's brow, that seems to be okay. Just Roffers really that's made the big error on that pitch. And she's still 0.38 slower, just 3.8 slower than Boucher, but Boucher had a huge error on the late jump pitch, got very late in the line. What will Latimer do here? How will she fare? And she too getting pushed late in the line, has to readjust and has to kill the speed in order to maintain getting inside the gate, and she is 4.85 off the pace at the first intermediate time check. Latimer. On to these closing turns. You can see the finish now, and she brings it home in a time of 1:33.42. She goes into 5th place, just behind Inga Medvedeva. Quarter of a second slower than Medvedeva, and about half a second quicker than her teammate Alexandra Starker. Now Maria Papulova of Russia, 5th in the downhill, 5th in the Super G, 4th in the slalom. This is her first Winter Paralympic Games. Finished 6th in the Para World Championships in La Molina. Over the bear's brow, gets a good angle and attack onto that blue gate on the left ski. And Populova doing a decent job on that technical section that links the two jumps. Now, can she keep this good form over the late jump pitch? That red gate's so key. Gotta get the line right, otherwise you pay the penalty further down. And Populova, not too bad, just 3 seconds off the pace of Boucher. Chance perhaps to get inside the top 4 or 5. And can she carry the speed on these bottom turns, try and carve these GS turns rather than sliding them. You slide them, it costs you time and speed. Now Populova, the crowd lifting the volume in the finish area, 1:24.98. Yeah, she goes 4th in front of Medvedeva, 1:31.17, 2 seconds quicker exactly than her teammate Inga Medvedeva. And Populova, well, she's got a shot here of a podium finish. Solène Jambach of France in the LW92 class for skiers that have an impairment that affects arms and legs. Some skiers in this class have coordination problems such as spasticity or some loss of control over one side of their body, and depending on their abilities they'll ski with 1 or 2 skis and 1 or 2 poles. So Jambach has 2 skis and 2 poles, and has a silver medal in these games from the late over the bear's brow. She has a silver medal from the Super G. But likes the GS. Was 3rd at the Turin Paralympic Games in giant slalom. Was the Para World Champion in giant slalom in 2004. Now, Jambach over the late jump pitch, and no problems there, but how's that air on bear's brow cost her? Just 1.32 off the pace. Good skiing by Jambach. A little bit of a slide on some of these turns, such as that one in particular. And that will cost her time. Hear how hard the piste is on these turns. 1:24.98 will come and go, but Jambach's not going to be off the pace by much. 2.73, she's 3rd, 3 seconds quicker than Stephanie Yalin. Still 2 big skiers to come, Alison Jones and Petra Smazova. Good super slow-mos. Jambach, she negotiates this technical course. She'll be in the mix again for medals. Laura Velenu of Romania. And her warm-up routine.
Ask him how the delay is.
How's the delay in your section running?
Again, slight pause in proceedings for some course maintenance. Alana Ramsey of Canada. The next Canadian to go, the last Canadian in fact in the race. The American coach looks up from the bottom because the next to ski is Alison Jones of the USA.
Before the next time, are you ready, USA? Do you feel good, happy? Be ready, because the next racer, she's from USA.
Boucher, Jambach in the finish area. Just seeing I guess what Alison Jones and Petra Smazova do, because once we get to Alana Ramsey, we're going into the lower rank skiers in this discipline and descending world ranking order. The top seeds are drawn randomly in the top 15 slots, and then we revert to World Cup, the world ranking points. Look at the wind blowing. Late jump. Makes for very, very difficult conditions. And I think that is why we have this pause in proceedings. They might be sending down a forerunner just to see how difficult it is, but that is very, very windy. First time we've really had the wind blowing strongly here.
Sitting categories with 12 women fighting in these categories, and today
We'll just hope that blows itself out shortly.
Finish this with victory ceremony here in the finish line in Rosa Kuko Alpine Skiing Center. We are between, sadness, happiness.
Well, the Alpine skiing has had a very busy schedule. The most amount of medals for one sport being decided here at the Rosa Kuta Alpine Centre. 32 medals in total will have been won here. It's been a historic competition as well, with the inclusion of snowball cross for the first time. So Alison Jones now called forward into the start hut. Silver medalist from the O2 Games, Para World Champion in 04, and since 2002 has gone to every Paralympic Games, winter and summer, cycling in 04, 08 and 12, Alpine in 02, 06, 10 and 14. Now, Jones, who has a bronze medal from the downhill, wants to pick her way down this set of gates on the Bears Brow. 5th in the World Cup standings this season. Now onto the late jump. Can she stay high in the line? She's in real difficulty. Look how that blue gate is being blown around, and Jones just about survives the late jump pitch. She's still late in the line. Now she's got it back together. 3.78 off the pace. Now it'll be a little bit more sheltered on these closing turns, but the damage already done. 3 3/4 seconds slower than Boucher. Boucher and Roth are separated by just 0.38 of a second. Lin Zhan back in third, almost 2 3/4 seconds off the pace of her teammate Boucher. 1:24.98 won't be beaten, but Jones will stop the clock at 1:31.65. She goes into 6th place, 6.67 seconds off the pace of Marie Boucher. Petra Smazova of Slovakia, the next to go in the LW 682 class, a bronze medalist in the slalom. Smazova, well, this is probably her best chance of getting higher up the podium. Bronze medal from Vancouver. She makes the same mistake that Rothers does. Gets too close to that blue gate off the top of the Bears Brow. Now, Smazova, who's third in the World Cup standing. She won the opening 2 giant slalom races of the season in Threadboat down in Australia. comes now to this key part of the course. Just getting pushed a little low, but gets it back with some really good turns. So Smazova, not too bad at all down there, much better than Boucher. She's 2.89 off the pace. That's not enough to get her into the top 3 after the first run. She's going to have to motor down these closing turns. Try and carve it if she can rather than slide. Not too bad on these closing turns. Now the time of Boucher, 1:24.98. She's not going to beat that. Jambak is in third, 1:27.71, and Smazova goes fourth, 5.54 off the pace. That's 2.8 seconds slower than Jambak. Shrug of the shoulders from Smazova. Alana Ramsey of Canada, the next to go, LW92 class, 11th in Super G, 9th in slalom so far at these Winter Paralympic Games. LW91 class is skiers that have an impairment that affects arms and legs. Some skiers have coordination problems such as spasticity or some loss of control on one side of their body. Celine Jambak in third place in the same class. Remember, there was a factoring system at play within the classification that splits the skiers into 7 classes. Each class has a factor. That factor is applied to real time, and it gives us the calculated time that you see on the bottom right of your screen. Now, Ramsey standing very tall down this late jump pitch, taking not easy, but certainly just making sure of the turns. She'll be some way off the pace at the time split, 11.1. And Ramsey into these final turns. 5 more to go after Ramsey. Just the one non-finisher so far, which is Melania Corradini of Italy. And Ramsey will stop the clock at 1:42.09. She goes into 13th place in front of Melanie Schwartz of the United States. So good job done by the 19-year-old. Ramsey makes her way to the finishing area. And Laura Verlanu, the next skier to lead the start hut from Romania. And she qualified for the Paralympic Winter Games in Vancouver. She came. She's gone too early. She's gone too early.
Can I come again?
Wow. What happened then? Did she get the shout from the controller? Or did she just get it wrong? The skiers can go 5 seconds before 0 and 5 seconds after 0. So they have a 10-second window in which they can leave the start hut. Now they're going to decide what to do with Valeno. Or is she going again? She is being allowed to go again. So here we go then. Laura Valeno gets to ski. 5th in the slalom, so he is a technical skier. So, fancy her chances here. Gets the line slightly wrong over the bear's brow. You can hear her shouting to herself. This gets bounced out of that red gate. But now into the turns on the section that links Bears Brow to Lake Jump. Now, Valeno into the Lake Jump pitch. Good first turn on that red gate. Gets the ski sideways, a little slide, but that's not bad at all from Valeno. And Valeno stops the time. The intermediate 59.63, 5.39 off the pace. That's the 12th quickest at that point. Valeno. Shaping up for the finish now. Where's she going to slot in? 1:24.98 goes and by, comes and goes. 1:33.96 is very congested in the midfield between 8th and 12th. There is just over a second. Katja Salonen of Finland now. 8th in the Salt Lake Winter Paralympics, her best major giant slalom result. Skiing in the LW2 class. The skiers that have a significant impairment in one leg. They ski with just the one ski and the 2 outriggers. Now, over the Bears Brow. Nothing too wrong with these turns. Making sure of them. She's not skiing the quickest down through here. But again, another skier making sure, because it's such a difficult technical course. And if you're too aggressive, you will ski out of it. Salonen through the Lake Jump pitch, okay. She's 9.39 off the pace. Yeah. Schwartz has a time of 1:44.46, Ramsey 1:42.09. Looking like where Saronen's going to slot in. Into these final few turns now. Good job by Saronen. And Ramsey and Schwartz, the 2 skiers that she's aiming for, and she'll stop the clock just over 1:40, will it be? 1:40.56. She goes into 14th place, just slots in above Ramsey and Schwartz, and behind Puyo Maremon. Anastasia Korosheva of Russia, the next to ski in her first major competition, her first Winter Paralympics, having not skied a Para World Championship. And the 18-year-old making sure of these turns, just skiing within herself a little bit, so she negotiates these hard patterns of gates. Now, how will she fare on the Lake Jump pitch? Oh, very late in the line. And, takes off a lot of speed to make it back for the blue gate. And is through the Lake Jump. 8 seconds off the pace. Now, onto these lower turns. Can she let the skis run? Can she find the rhythm of the course, of the gate pattern set by the German coach Justus Wolf? And Kurosheva will be welcomed into the finish area by a very patriotic set of home fans, and she stops the clock. Decent time, 1:39.55. She goes 14th above Saarinen and below Puyo Marimon. And then there were two at the top of the course. Both of them in their first Winter Paralympic Games. The first of them is Line Damgaard of Denmark. First female para-alpine athlete for Denmark. And the 32-year-old doing what she has to do to get down the pitch of the Bear's Brow. Came home 12th in the slalom, doing the technical disciplines here. And Damgaard, she's in the LW2 class of skiers that have a significant impairment in one leg. Taking it very cautiously over the late jump. The slalom skier, more than a giant slalom skier. And now she lets the ski run, having negotiated those difficult turns. And she's 29 seconds just over off the pace. But she's not interested in the top spots. Interested in making it to the bottom and raising awareness of para-alpine disciplines within Denmark. So some precise turns from Damgaard. And she will finish just over 2 minutes for her first run. She stops the clock, 2:08.4, goes into 18th slot. And a smile breaks out across her face. Good job done on a very, very difficult and technical course. Now, Ilma Kazacic, Bosnia-Herzegovina, just 15 years of age, and she skis in the LW3 class, the only skier in the LW3 class in this standing category race. And the LW3 class is for athletes who have a moderate impairment in both legs. They will ski with two skis and prosthesis. Some LW3 skiers have mild coordination problems or muscle weakness in both legs, or a below knee amputation in both legs. And the 15-year-old doing a really good job on these brutally difficult turns. I can almost guarantee she's never seen anything like this before. Kazacic has almost completed this difficult section of the course. She's done it. She almost looks like she's going to get blown off the mountain. 46.5 seconds down at the first intermediate. The flag bearer for Bosnia-Herzegovina at the opening ceremony. And Kazacic has survived the hardest part of the track. Can she make it to the bottom? Can she make it through these closing turns? This will be a very long 2.5 minutes for her, but the crowd respond to the 15-year-old. Magnificent performance by Ilma Kazacic. And she has competed the first run of the giant slalom in the standing category. 107 behind Boucher, but it doesn't matter. It's all about the taking part for her. And she's done a good job, and that is how tired she is. She can't even stand up in the bottom of the track.